I regularly ask potential coaching clients, what do you want? Sometimes they'll say something along the lines of, I'm too scared to say it out loud. What if it doesn't come true? When they finally share their secret desire with me, it sometimes includes walking the stage at their company convention. Then I'm able to let them know that I have a process to make that happen. I've used it myself and with many other leaders to get them into the top 10. I'm working to become more efficient, so I created a guide called 5 Ways to Get in the Top 10 so I could share it with them after the complimentary coaching session. Recently, I realized I didn't have to wait until someone booked a complimentary coaching session with me. I could share it with way more people if I just put it on my website and pointed more people to it. So, if you'd like to know the 5 steps to get into the top 10 at your company, go to badassdirectssalesmastery.com/top-10, and that's TEN spelled out. And I'll send you the guide so you can start the process.
Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jennie will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. And today I have with me Catharine O'Leary. Now, Catharine and I first met on the Marketers Cruise in 2023, and we were like, oh my gosh. And so we did some work together, and then life happened. And then we ran into each other on the Marketers Cruise again, and we were like, oh my God, we have to work together. So I said, all right, Catharine, let's do this. Let's get you on the show because people need to know who you are and what you do because you are impacting so many lives in a positive way. So for those of you who don't know who Catharine O'Leary is, I'm going to ask you this question. Did you know that 80% of carefully crafted checklists, blueprints, and ebooks that you may be using to attract your ideal clients are never opened after they're downloaded? That is super scary. So we're in luck because today's guest is the quiz queen, Catharine O'Leary, who is an expert in creating an ideal client attraction system through the power of asking questions. Catharine has spent the last 3 decades working with Fortune 100 companies, helping them build brands and grow businesses through market research and consumer insights. And she now helps entrepreneurs create an ideal client attraction system by asking the best questions to attract the best clients. And as Catharine says, every good conversation starts with a great question, not a sales pitch. So if you're ready to learn how to attract the best and release the rest, everybody, you got to talk to and listen in on this episode with the quiz queen, Catharine O'Leary. Welcome to the show.
Hello! Yay! We finally get to hang out again and not on a boat. So this is amazing. Thank you for having me. And I can't wait to get into this.
Oh, me too. Because I've had the pleasure of going through and seeing some of what you do with people. And before we dig further into that quiz, how do we create it? What does it do? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
How did you get from working with Fortune 100 companies to now working with entrepreneurs to do quizzes? So what's your, in a nutshell, journey from Fortune 100 to entrepreneurship?
Yeah, in a nutshell, it was direct marketing, direct sales. So I, when I left corporate, it was pre-COVID. So I had Pepsi and I had parted ways, and I was looking for another opportunity, and it was, 2017-ish. And it wasn't a great market. And I was kind of banging my head against a brick wall for about 8 months and decided that I'd had enough of that and I'd always had kind of like, I always knew that you could make money online. Like you could do something. And I dabbled here and there, but I started in network marketing and in personal development, and I loved it. I loved the courses and the products. I loved the environment. I loved the events. I loved the people. But what I learned really quickly is that I sucked at the lead generation side of things because I was attracting all the wrong people, like those tire kickers and freebie seekers, people that just kind of wanted to tell their life story on the phone with you, or thought it was one thing and it's another thing. And, you get to a point where, I mean, I'd spent hand over fist on paid advertising that just didn't go anywhere. Had no business doing paid advertising.
Right.
I spent hours on the phone thinking, if I just convince people that they need personal development, like, I mean, hello, like, why am I convincing you need personal development? Like, obviously this is not working. I don't have the setup right. So I was talking to the wrong people, and it got to a point where, like when you're hiding under the covers, because you just can't, like, you're done. Like you can't get on the phone for another conversation that's going to go nowhere. And you can't, you're out of money. So I had to either figure it out or go back to corporate. And for me, going back to corporate meant a 3-hour-a-day commute from where I live.
Ooh.
So, it took a couple of seconds, but I realized that there are not enough podcasts and audiobooks in the world to get me back into the car for 3 hours a day. So suck it up, princess, right? Yeah. Figure it out. And that's when I got involved with a mentor. And he introduced me to a friend of his that was doing quiz funnels and teaching quiz funnels. I took his course and thought, oh, well, this I could do in my sleep.
Right.
Not thinking that I was going to do a business with this, because I hadn't really figured out how I was going to use all this market research and consumer insights in my own business that seemed too corporate. And but the quiz idea was like attracting your best clients, like out of the gate. Like they don't even have to be convinced or cajoled or chased or, like that. This sounds like heaven. So I created my own quiz, and I tripled my leads, and I doubled my sales in my business. And I thought, interesting. I wonder if this is a fluke, because as a data geek, I'm like, sample size of 1, not really. So I did, I helped a couple of colleagues that had businesses as well. And I was getting similar results, and I'd never looked back. I left the network marketing, not because it wasn't working or because it wasn't good. It's just that I found something that I could like do for other people that was mine, under my own brand, under my own name, and allowed me the creativity to kind of create whatever I wanted. And I just kind of never looked back.
I love that. And what's fantastic about that too, about what you do and how it impacts network marketers is, you ended up creating something that helped you build a network marketing business, your own network marketing business.
Yeah.
So it works in the industry, right? And
yeah,
this is something that I've seen work for some companies because the company has created some sort of quiz or assessment or something. So this is something that obviously works in the industry to help create leads and find who's interested in what you have to offer. So I think that's a fantastic way to do that. So now as you're going through and working with people in determining whether or not a quiz or assessment is something that they could be or should be doing to generate more leads, what are the first steps? What's the thing that gets the person who's ready to add quizzing to their lead generation strategy? What's something they need to be thinking about, or what should they know beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, it's a next step it's a next generation marketing strategy, right? So it's not something that like you come out and you're starting your business and you automatically, need a quiz right away.
Right.
It's like, you need to make sure that you've got the product that's selling and the kind of the sales mechanism, whether that's, a class, a webinar, a call, whatever that is, that you've got that working. A quiz is really for those people that are, they've got some lead generation. It's okay. It's not consistent, and they kind of want to put a system in place that is a little bit more, less hands-on and more interactive. And you really have to know your ideal client, because it's really hard to ask relevant questions of your ideal client if you serve everyone, because you don't know enough. Because the first thing that you need to understand and to articulate is, what's their 3 a.m. question, right? So what's the question that your ideal clients for your solution or your offer, what are they waking up in the middle of the night worried about? The other trick to that is, how are they saying that in their language, right? Because we as entrepreneurs, we're on the other side of the challenge and we use different language. We think about it differently because we've already gone through the solve. And, like, I can guarantee you that there are probably 3 people on the planet, now maybe 2 people on the planet other than me, that wake up thinking about quiz funnels. Maybe 2. Right? Like, really, probably only one of us, right? Like, honestly.
Right.
That's not the language that my ideal clients use. They want more clients. They want it to be easier. They want to stop wasting time with unqualified leads, right? They want to, make sure that their sales calls are with good people that are ready to invest, and ready to, say yes. Like, the decision isn't whether or not they should. The decision is what offer, like at what level. Like that, those are the kinds of conversations that clients are having, not how do I make my quiz funnels, better or optimized or leveraged. That's only me. Right. I'm the only one that thinks that.
Yeah, exactly. So this is, and I want to point out to the listener that the key in all of that was knowing your ideal client avatar. Like, I just went through a brand strategy session with my graphic designer before I launched my Sales Accelerator program a few months ago. And one of the things that I learned through going through that process was, I thought I knew my ideal client avatar until I talked to her, right? Like, I had some basics, but by the end of that, I 100% had every detail down to the nitty gritty, littlest thing. Like, when she goes out with her girlfriends for a girls' night, where does my ideal client go? Who is she hanging out with? Like, what do they like, what is she drinking on girls' night out? Is she drinking beer? Is she drinking wine? Like, because those are 2 different personality types, right? So learning all of that helped me have an 80%, 75% conversion rate on my Sales Accelerator launch call, because I knew exactly who I was talking to.
Yeah. And the more niche down that you can get, the more you can offer, but also the more you can charge. Like, your prices go up because you know exactly what your avatar needs, what your client needs, your ideal client. I would rather have 50 people in a room that are my ideal client than talk to a stadium of 10,000, because you still have to sort through and find the 50 people. Right. Exactly. So, like, why start there? Like, that's just hard. Yeah. Start with the I'd rather start with the 50 people in the room.
Absolutely. And that's what cracks me up about people, especially when it comes to like podcasts, for example. They'll be like, oh my gosh, you only have 30 people listening to your show. And I'm sitting there going, they have 30 people listening to them every single week, right? For me, it's a lot more than that. Thank goodness. But I've been doing this for 5 years. But what I want to point out to the network marketer who they believe they don't have control over their pricing, right? Because what you talked about was you can charge more. Okay, guys, I want you to listen right now. This is not about being able to be in control of your price or not. It's knowing who your ideal client is for the variety of products that you offer, because the effort to sell an $18 lipstick is the same effort that it takes to sell a $200 skincare regimen. Same effort.
Yep.
So do you want to sell the $18 lipstick or do you want to sell the $200 skincare regimen? I think they want to sell the $200 skincare regimen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So you do have control over over your price, how much you make based on what you choose to promote in your business. So most people I see in network marketing are trying to promote the entry level, $10 product, $20 product, $30 product instead of the top tier one and then back selling.
And downsell. Yeah.
Oh, if we could get people in on that, if that is what I just felt it. Oh, thank you, Shiraz Babu. I just felt all the listeners who haven't heard this yet, but they're listening to it right now, who just had the aha moment.
Yeah.
Did you feel that energetically? Like, I feel it in my body.
Yeah.
This is so freaking cool. Thank you, Shiraz Babu. So there are people who are now sitting here going, yes, I want to sell the $200 thing or the $500 thing or the $150, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So in doing that work now, so now they've gone, oh, okay, I get it now, right? What is that step in trying to figure out what the 3 a.m. question is, or perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, what's so cool about that, what you were talking about there, Jenny, is that like the person that's going to buy the $200 face cream or skincare regimen, they're probably a yes and client, right? So they're probably, oh, and I'll take the lipstick, and I'll take the mascara, and I'll take the the whatever. So then you end up with the $500 sale that you start with at $200 and add on to it. So it's a lot easier to add to the cart than it is to add to the cart in the sense of start with the bigger item and then add things along. And if you attract the person that is looking for the skin kit, like the ideal, the whole kit and caboodle, then they become a client longer because they're probably just going to like add on to as they go forward, and you're still going to sell the lipstick. So, but the lipstick person may never be able to upgrade to the full skincare regime.
Right.
So you want to be mindful of knowing your client avatar, knowing who you're going after. And yes, like all women can use lipstick. That's true. But who do you want to work with? Right? Like just because your product is good, like can actually be used by everyone, still doesn't mean that everyone is your avatar. Right? So, like really dial, like if it's not a them thing, it's a you thing. Like think of it this way, you're the buyer of your clients. What clients do you want to buy? What clients do you want to attract into your business, right? Like if you think of it as an enrollment process where people have to kind of like almost like a private school or something like that, where you have to apply, you have to get approved, right? Well, your clients should have to apply and have to get approved too. I'm not trying to be like, exclusive or anything or, disregard anyone. I'm just saying that it has to be a fit both ways. And I cannot tell you how many times that I fired clients, how many times in corporate we fired clients. I mean, we fired clients that were in the top, 5% of the Fortune 100 because they were a pain in the ass to work with. Right? There's not enough money in the world to make me work with some of these people again. Right? You don't want to be stuck with that. You don't have to be. You get to be the buyer just as much as somebody else, as the person that's getting the products.
Absolutely. Because, again, pointing back to your own story, your own history of you were willing to do the entrepreneurial roller coaster rather than go back and deal with some of these corporate clients again. So I totally get that. So as you were talking, because you used the word enrollment, I felt once again, the audience, there were a few listeners who had a moment of, wait a minute, could I use a quiz to grow my team?
Of course. Right?
You go, people. If you're killing it at sales, but you're sucking at recruiting,
Bingo.
quiz could be
right?
your thing.
Or use the same thing, use the quiz as both product and, hey, are you interested in the business opportunity? And then that way you can set up your back end to both be fulfillment on the product side, but also be a recruiting, conversation as well. So you don't have to have either or. You can have both.
Oh, that is so freaking cool. Seriously, I am feeling, and you can't see because thanks to my camera cutting off at a certain point, but every time I feel that energetic shift, it's right around my diaphragm. It's so interesting. Because there's a bunch of people who are now going, oh, I could do this.
Yeah.
Right. And use this. And, and here's the other thing that I want to point out, because you and I were talking about this on pre-interview, which is somebody could set up to work with you to do the quiz thing, right? They don't have to keep all the leads for themselves.
No. Well, that's the thing with the quiz is that you don't have to have it branded. Right? Like you can make it anything you want. So if you are a team leader and you are feeding leads downline, that person will, that client will never know. Right? They don't have to know. They don't have to know that I was talking to person X and now I'm getting person Y. Whereas sometimes with some of the Facebook personal posts and so on, it's like, well, why are you calling me? Because I was talking to Leanne, not you, with a quiz. And the thing is that all of your team can use the same quiz and feed into the same lead system, and then you can split the leads out as you see fit. So it becomes more like a Salesforce it becomes more at the back end. It just becomes, who has time? You can automate all of that.
That is so cool. I love this so much.
Right. And so that your people get qualified faster, they get on the track faster, they can, they're able to host their own, events and parties and so on, or however you're set up. But, the faster that they go through that qualification period, the higher your level of retention. So let's get them through that as soon as humanly possible. And then, the best way to do that is feed them qualified leads. Let them get practice on people that are ready to go.
Oh, this is fantastic. Right now, what just came up for me is I feel like Catharine, you and I should do a webinar that says, here's how this works. Here's how we can do it. Oh my gosh, I feel like you and I could totally go in and do a mini, teach people, get them to answer those first few things. So that way, when they get to the quiz part, the writing of the quiz with you, the going through the process with you, or your course, because you have options, which I think is fantastic. That opportunity, it is already taken care of. That is so awesome. Okay. Sorry. Y'all keep your eyes open because something's going to be happening soon. I'm just saying.
And it's funny because we've talked about this. We've talked about that before. And then, life happens and things happen. And let's just make sure we do it before the next marketing course.
Yeah. Welcome to ADHD, Catharine. Just in case you weren't sure what that's like to work with someone with ADHD. Oh my God, I have this great idea. Yeah, we talked about that. We did? Welcome to ADHD. But so in terms of all of this, frankly, if somebody at this point is going, yeah, no, this isn't for me, totally cool. Move on to the next episode because Catharine doesn't want to work with you anyway if you're not my thing. But if you're sitting here going, holy crap, I could sell more, I could recruit more, I could share sales leads, I could share recruitment leads with my entire team. This could be the thing I've been looking for in my business, in my organization. how is it that people can get a hold of you, Catharine, to start this process to see if they're a good fit to work with you?
Well, I think the best way is to I practice what I preach. So go through the quiz. I have if you go to quizformybiz.com, and that's, all spelled out, quizformybiz.com, take the quiz and find out what a quiz can do for you and your business right now, and what gap it might be able to solve for in your client attraction system. Because this is another thing. I want you to ditch lead generation. Ditch it.
Ooh.
Right? Switch to client attraction. You want to build relationships, right? You want to build relationships from the get-go. That's the way the market is going. If you're not doing that now, you need to. You're going to be left behind. So I can generate leads all day long. I did that with my network marketing, company. They weren't good leads.
No.
Like, if they're not qualified, they're crap. So
yeah, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of effort, time, money
on both sides.
Yes,
on both sides. Right. So let's attract the best and release the rest, because there's somebody else's best.
Yeah.
And God bless. Off you go.
Exactly. I love that so much. Absolutely. So again, in case you guys breezed past what she said, the link for her quiz is in the show notes. So if you're worried about spelling it right or getting it right, just go to the show notes. So my badass crew, the ones who've been listening for a long time, they know where the show notes are. But just in case this is somebody's first time listening to an episode or watching on YouTube, all you have to do is pull up the episode. Okay. Look in the description below. So if you're listening on your phone, grab your phone, as long as you're not driving. Click on today's episode in your notifications, scroll up under Catharine's picture, and you will see the wonderful link for Quiz for My Biz. So you can click on it and go right there and get it completely correct. And if you're watching on YouTube, well, hopefully you know how to just look below the video. It's like literally right down there.
That's right there. Like
just
right
pointing
there.
right down there.
Right.
It's down there. It's in the description in the YouTube. So I want to make sure that people have access to be able to do that. So you guys now all know how to access that. Catharine, this has been obviously a huge shift for quite a few people who were listening, because I had a couple of my own aha moments, but at the same time, I felt the ahas from the audience. Because the cool thing that I learned from Shiraz is energy shifts do not know space or time.
No. Yep.
That is the coolest thing ever. So I literally felt, as it was happening, people who were having aha moments. So I'm so glad that there are people who heard this and went, oh, that's so good. And I encourage you, if you were one of those people who had that light bulb moment that, oh my gosh, go take the freaking quiz. Take action. Do not go, oh, I'll get to it later. No. Do it now.
And I promise it's not the census. Like, that's not what we do, right? It's not 150 questions. I'm not going to ask you income questions. Like, this is literally, how can a quiz help you with your business right now? And awesome. it's gonna give you a personalized report on how your quiz can help you right now in your business. And then obviously it'll have all my details as well. But yeah, it's like 8 questions, folks. It's going to take you 60 seconds.
Oh, see, that's so easy. Y'all can get this done in a minute. Like, seriously, click the link, go take it, and you'll be done in a minute. It'll be great. If you don't have a minute to build your business, then you're in the wrong freaking business, y'all. I'm just saying.
And you're probably not going to work with me anyways, because it takes more than a minute to build these things.
Right. But if you can take a minute to see if this is a good fit for you, go do it. And how it can work for your business too, which I think is just fan-freaking-tastic. So, Catharine, we are definitely working together. We're definitely bringing you back on to talk more about this, because what I want to be able to share is the people who, so by the way, y'all, those of you who do her quiz and end up choosing to work with Catharine, make sure you reach out to both of us and say, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what happened since I started my quiz with Catharine, because we want to share your success stories. We want to tell everyone how freaking awesome you are for A, taking action, and B, look what happened to your business. So we're going to bring Catharine on. We'll probably bring you on to share your story as well. So, Catharine, thank you for taking time to do this. This is exactly when people needed to hear this, because I'm a big believer. If they're here, if you're hearing it now, you're hearing it for a reason, because you were meant to be here. The universe put this episode in your head for a reason, in your ears for a reason. So, Catharine, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for listening. I look forward to connecting soon.
Absolutely. And so, Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned, because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast, so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.